Hi.
What?
What's going
A
on,
Foo,
Ashley?
a Foo Fighters fan, huh?
I just went to a concert this weekend and I bawled my eyes out. They
Wait,
are unbelievable.
you went to a Foo Fighters concert?
I go all
You
the
know, I
time.
think we're entering into like a really cool time for concerts because everyone's trying to make up for lost time. I think it's going to be a really good time for live music.
Oh my, and Dave Grohl is so passionate about what he does. Like he was amped up for it too.
I bet. What's your thing? Was it open seating?
Yeah, so it was the Innings Festival. It was hosted by Major League Baseball, and they were the headliner. It was unbelievable. Those guys are just
Were you
unbelievable.
close?
Oh yeah, right in that mosh pit area, as they'd say.
Do you get anxiety being in the like mosh pit area?
Oh yeah, I couldn't move. About halfway through, I like leaned over to the people I was with. I'm like, we probably should have stayed back. Like, we need a
Yeah.
little bit more space.
I just get like I'm also like I'm only 5'5", so I'm kind of short. So I always get a little bit like, hey, like can the short people get towards the front? Like how is what? This is not fair.
One of my
Like how
friends
is
was
this
four
fair?
foot ten. She didn't see any of it.
Totally. You're like sitting there being like, I mean, I can see other people enjoying it and I can hear it, you know. But it's like the short people should get shoved to the front.
Oh my god, it was unbelievable though. But I'm so glad we got to do this. I have a question for you. Believe it or
Tell
not.
me, I'm here.
Huge How I Met Your Mother fan. Did you think Victoria was going to be a big character, or was it because of the reaction that they kept bringing you back?
Um, when I no, I mean I first got the job and the show was super on the bubble. Like I didn't like they were about to get canceled. They got their back nine order for the first season. I was there on set, and I was kind of like I didn't really get the show. Like I didn't understand because it was pretty unconventional. It
Yeah.
was a multicam, but there was no audience that we were shooting with. It was weird. So I was like, what even is this show? This is weird. This is like a little sweet little thing. And then over the years, then like basically I left and then I heard if the show had gotten canceled, they would have made me the mother, which traumatized me for life because I would have loved that. But then years later, I ran into Pam Fryman, the director, in a restaurant, and she was like, "We need to bring you back." And I was like, "You do?" Because I was like super unemployed, you know. So suddenly I get this offer, like, "How I Met Your Mother wants you back," and I was like, because at that point it was like such a hit, and then I finally like really understood it, you know.
Oh yeah.
So it was a good journey. It was such a good show, you know.
Did you like the ending to that show? You ever get a chance to see it?
I loved it. I know it was controversial. I felt like it was always Robin, so it was satisfying for me.
What you like most about the character Victoria? Because I think Victoria, in my estimation, was probably the biggest mainstream character on that show that wasn't a main character. Like he came back 2 or 3 times throughout the entire series. You were able to be, I think, the first one to call out Ted in his obsession with Robin throughout the entire series. And he ends up with Robin at the end, anyways. His kids convince him to go out with Aunt Robin, which I thought was a little freaking weird. But what was your interpretation of the character and what kind of attracted you to the role and want to be in that, that setting with a guy like Josh Radnor and Ted Mosby?
I mean, listen, Ted is one of those hopeless romantics, which kind of gets me. I mean, I think that's sweet because there's an innocence to that, you know? And by the way, that's Josh Radnor as well. Like he's kind of everyman, you know, which is just delicious. So he and I personally always really hit it off. We just really loved each other. We loved talking, and it was weird because when I first met him, I had like just turned 24 or something. Like we were, I was a baby, and it was his first job out of college, and it was a lot of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we suddenly can pay our rent, you know? And then what was cool was coming back 8 seasons later and being like, hi. And I remember one of the first things he told me was like, well, one thing I've learned is like money does not necessarily isn't everything you need in order to be happy. And that was news to me, you know, like it's all these things that we just love in a boy. Like we just love like honest, he's a great listener, you know? And Ted, Ted is just always like honestly trying to figure his life out. Like, guys, what am I supposed to do? You know? And it's also fun the fantasy of feeling like you were the answer one that helped him find clarity and, is kind of always my favorite thing. It's the ethos behind like a woman's desire to fix a boy, it's the same kind of in the same family. So, I think Ted is a really good guy and Josh is a really good guy. And I mean, it's always been my fantasy that I would like live in an apartment that like people would just stop by every day, like they do in a sitcom. Like, I love that. But also like, how does that compromise the intimacy of a relationship? Like, I don't know. And I think that, she was kind of like, it's weird. Like, you guys are all weird,
And that, kids, is how I met your mother.
Yet Mom is hardly in the story. This is a story about how you're totally in love with Aunt Robin.
I can't believe this. I kept this story short and to the point, and you guys still missed it.
I asked Kobe the same question. Now I kind of want to put you on the spot. What did you think of the series finale? What did you think when you got that final script?
I generally don't speak about it on the record anymore because every time I would speak about it, it would become like a international news story. I like the finale. I mean, I really like the longer version we did. They had to edit it a lot for broadcast, but I thought the original script was really quite wonderful, and I think it'll age well. Like I think people were saddened by it because people don't like death and they don't like to be sad. They prefer to be angry. But I think there's something mature and I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear how people respond in like 10 or 20 years if they've had some time to think about it. Thanks for booking this and thanks for your great questions.